In a world where magic and swordsmanship combine, warriors, known as blazers, can manifest their very souls into weapons called devices. These warriors train to become mage knights, and among them, few shine as brightly as Stella Vermillion, a princess from a faraway kingdom, gifted with unmatched magical talent. And then, there's Ikki Kurogane, known throughout Hagun Academy as the worst one. Ikki has almost no magical ability. To the world, he's a failure, mocked, ignored, and dismissed. But what people don't see is the sheer dedication behind his sword. Every day, Ikki hones his skill, sharpening his body and technique to levels no ordinary blazer could imagine. The story begins when fate plays a rather embarrassing trick on him. Assigned to his new dorm room, Ikki unlocks the door only to find a breathtaking girl in her underwear. Her name? Stella Vermillion. A rank A knight, a prodigy, a noble princess, and now, Ikki's roommate. Outraged, Stella immediately calls him a pervert and demands justice. To resolve the matter, she challenges him to a duel. The stakes? The loser must obey the winner for life. With Stella's overwhelming firepower, the entire academy expects Ikki to be crushed instantly. But as the fight begins, something unexpected happens. Stella's flames roar across the arena, but Ikki's calm, razor-sharp movements slice through them with surgical precision. His eyes track every motion, his body moves without waste, and his blade finds openings where no one else could. The princess unleashes her strongest attack, determined to finish him in one blow. But Ikki, anticipating her every move, slips past the flames and stops his blade just short of her throat. The crowd falls silent. The worst one has defeated the Academy's most powerful newcomer. For the first time, Stella looks at him not with scorn, but with shock, and maybe even a little respect. From that day forward, despite their clashing personalities, the two become roommates.
The morning after the duel, the awkward roommate life begins. Stella wakes, still fuming, convinced she'll be treated like royalty, and then finds Ikki quietly going about his relentless training routine. He doesn't gloat, he doesn't put on airs, he simply moves with razor focus. And Stella notices, the man they call the worst one is carved of discipline. School life presses on. Their teacher explains the rules for the upcoming 7-star sword art festival, and the selection matches are announced, the stage that will make or break reputations. Then the campus gets louder. Ikki's younger sister, Ikki Kurogane, arrives as a new student. Her entrance is a shock to Stella and to everyone else when Shizuku strides up and, in a blunt, scandalous moment, kisses Ikki on the mouth in front of the crowd. Jealousy, embarrassment, and misunderstanding flare. Stella challenges Shizuku. The two trade barbs and awkward confrontations, but the scene isn't just comic relief. Through Shizuku's bluntness, we see more of Ikki's past. Family pressure, a complicated household, and the reason he trains so fiercely. Stella, who started as a proud princess, begins to understand him, not as a failure, but as someone forged by hardship and will. Shizuku invites Ikki and, awkwardly, Stella out for a mall trip, forced proximity that turns teasing and competitive when Stella and Shizuku vie for Ikki's attention. Along the way, we meet Alice Arasuin, Shizuku's energetic roommate, whose shadow-based device proves useful and who gradually warms to the group. The day spirals into chaos when the mall is taken hostage by a militant group led by a blazer named Bisho. The academy authorizes its students to intervene. In the tense rescue, Stella rushes forward to protect civilians and is horrifically coerced by Bisho. He threatens a child and uses the situation to humiliate her. Shizuku acts quickly, creating a protective wall of water, while Ikki cuts down the leader's ability to use his device by severing his attacking arm. When things look like they might still go sideways, Shizuya Kirihara appears, a ruthless, skilled blazer who subdues the attackers with surgical efficiency. After the dust settles, Kurihara casually reveals he and Ikki have a history, and that he plans to be Ikki's first official opponent in the selection. The day ends on a heavy note. Fun and flirtation snapped into the sharp reality of combat and personal rivalries.
Selection matches begin, and the arena buzzes. Stella, Shizuku, and Alice each take the field and show why they're top contenders. Quick, decisive victories that contrast sharply with the tension surrounding Ikki. Everyone knows Kurihara's reputation. His noble art makes him effectively invisible and lets him strike from the shadows. When Ikki studies Kurihara's style, we get a quiet, methodical display of his greatest strength: observation and adaptation. On the battlefield, Kurihara blankets the match in an illusory forest, peppering the area with arrows and feints. At first, Ikki uses visible clues, the flight of arrows, disturbances in foliage, to narrow Kurihara's position. Kurihara escalates. He refines his technique so even the arrows are invisible and Ikki takes heavy hits. The crowd murmurs. It seems an impossible fight. Then Stella, watching, refuses to let Ikki be written off. Her shout cuts across the field. It reignites him. Ikki pieces together Kurihara's pattern. Every invisible strike leaves a trace if you know where to look. And with a sudden, surgical rush, he breaks the illusion, lands a decisive blow, and collapses from sheer exhaustion. In the hospital afterward, that exhausted, honest moment turns intimate. Ikki confesses his feelings. Stella, flustered and soft, rewards him with a kiss on the cheek. They make a quiet promise to meet again, this time in the final of the festival. After the intensity of Ikki's duels, the academy takes a lighter turn. His classmates, impressed by his growth, ask him to share his training methods. Ikki, usually quiet and focused only on himself, agrees. Soon he finds himself surrounded by eager students in the pool and training grounds, giving tips on sword form, conditioning, and focus. The class trip feels almost like a holiday. Laughter fills the air as the group heads to the pool, and Stella, the proud Crimson Princess, experiences something rare, being treated not as royalty, but as just another girl among friends. She relaxes, blushes, and even plays along with the others' teasing, much to Ikki's quiet amusement. In the quieter moments, Stella reflects. Her pride as a princess once set her apart, but here she sees what Ikki has always understood. That strength also means sharing it, guiding others, and standing as part of something larger than yourself. The episode closes with Stella sneaking a moment beside Ikki, watching the others splash and laugh. She smiles and admits, softly, that she's glad she came to this academy, because here she's not just a princess. She's a person, a friend, and someone who can walk beside him. After the selection matches, the campus quiets down and life looks almost normal, except for a new awkward development. Ikki has a stalker. A girl has been following him, and when she finally reveals herself, she slips and falls over a handrail, landing in the water and being rushed to the hospital. At the hospital, she introduces herself as Ayase Ayatsuji, daughter of the famed swordsman Kaito Ayatsuji, and awkwardly explains she couldn't bring herself to directly ask Ikki for help. Ikki, ever blunt and kind, invites her to train with him. They train in the forest the next day. Ayase's form is elegant but haunted. She's been trying to imitate her father's style so strictly that her own anatomy and timing betray her at decisive moments. Ikki fixes her stance with a hands-on correction, guiding her into a posture that actually works for her body. When she lands a clean defensive counter for the first time, the relief on her face is almost childlike. Stella watches, feeling a prick of insecurity, but Ikki reassures her. Ayase is not a rival, just someone desperate to reclaim what was stolen from her family. That evening, the trio stop for a casual meal, and the calm fractures. A group of rough students from another academy sit nearby. Among them is Kurado Kudashiki, the fearsome sword eater. Kurado saunters over, pours a drink as a false apology, then smashes a bottle into Ikki's face without warning. The restaurant erupts. Kurado spits on Ikki and leaves, his grin saying he expected more reaction. Stella wants to leap across the table and tear him down, but Ukatata and Kanata, student council members, quietly step in, defusing the scene and later tending to Ikki's wound. On the walk home, tension hums in the air. Ayase mutters that she wants to take back what was stolen from her, and Ikki realizes the strands connect. Ayase's ruined dojo and Kurado's name. Before dawn the next day, the matchups are posted. Shockingly, Ikki and Ayase are scheduled to fight each other in the selection. The episode ends on a tense note. Ayase messages Ikki privately, asking him to meet on the school rooftop that night. When Ikki climbs up, Ayase waits with a strange, ghastly smile, foreshadowing a trap that will force him to expend his trump card before their official match.
Night falls, and Ikki keeps his word to meet Ayase on the rooftop. She greets him with a calm smile, then suddenly steps backward off the edge. Instinct takes over. Ikki unleashes his trump card, Itu Shura, and snatches her from the fall. But as his heartbeat steadies, realization sinks in. She never meant to die. It was a trap to force him to waste his noble art before their official match. The next day, the selection begins. Ayase faces Ikki in the arena, and she's prepared it with tricks. Wires, snares, hidden traps designed to bind him and tilt the fight. At first, the crowd admires her cunning, but Stella watches in fury as Ayase presses her advantage unfairly. Ikki, calm as ever, reads her movements. Every stumble, every hesitation, every overreach betrays her. Slowly, he cuts through the wires, steps through the traps, and finally corners her with decisive precision. Instead of striking her down, he lowers his blade and tells her plainly, "A true knight doesn't need deception. Fight with conviction, not fear." Shame floods Ayase's face. She breaks down, confessing that she only wanted to protect her father's honor but lacked the courage to face her weakness. Ikki doesn't condemn her. He offers his hand, promising to help her stand against Kurado with dignity. The truth about Ayase finally comes to light. Her father's dojo wasn't simply lost in an honorable duel, it was taken by Kurado Kurashiki, a man infamous for his brutal style and total lack of mercy. He defeated Ayase's father, left him permanently injured, and then claimed the dojo as his own prize. Ikki decides this injustice can't stand. Alongside Stella and Ayase, they march to the dojo itself. Inside, they find Kurado waiting, lounging like a predator in the home he stole. His presence is raw intimidation, his massive blade Orochimaru resting against his shoulder, his grin sharp with bloodlust. Ikki challenges him immediately. The duel is nothing like the elegant matches in the selection tournament. Kurado's fighting is savage, wide arcs that chew through walls, strikes that send shockwaves rattling the wooden hall. Ikki is cut, bruised, nearly broken under the relentless assault, but something strange happens. He begins to smile. Ikki isn't afraid. He's alive. Each blow teaches him something. Kurado's timing, his reckless gaps, his overconfidence. Little by little, he adapts. When the moment comes, he unveils the Ayatsuji secret technique, the very move Kurado once stole, and lands a perfect counter. Kurado collapses, laughing bitterly. He admits Ikki's strength is real, and, in his twisted way, respects him. Ayase, overwhelmed, falls to her knees in tears. The dojo is hers again. For the first time, she can face her father without shame. Back in the hospital, her father hears of Ikki's victory. With pride in his eyes, he tells Ayase she's not alone. After the heat of the selection matches, the class sets off on a training camp, excited for what feels like a much-needed break. The air is lighter, filled with chatter and laughter, and for Stella it feels almost like a real holiday with friends, rather than duty as a princess. But the camp isn't all fun. Their days are packed with chores and training drills, yet no one complains. Instead, the group grows closer, finding joy in working and relaxing together. For Ikki, who spent so much of his life alone, being included like this is quietly meaningful. When a sudden storm forces everyone to scatter, Ikki and Stella end up taking shelter together. The rain leaves Stella drenched and feverish, and Ikki gently looks after her, helping her rest. The scene isn't dramatic or grand, but it carries a quiet intimacy, proof of how much trust has grown between them. By the time the storm clears, the trip's easy mood shatters. A puppet user launches an ambush, animated golems smashing towards the students. Ikki and Stella are threatened, but the student council, Utakata, Kanata, and Toka, swoop in, neutralize the attackers, and protect the civilians. Shaken but safe, the group returns to their duties. The encounter is a sharp reminder that at Hagoon, even a break can turn dangerous, and it leaves Ikki and Stella's bond quietly strengthened by another shared trial. That's the recap up to episode 9. The climax and finale are coming in the next video, so hit subscribe and don't miss it.